Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yesterday I was in a meeting regarding congestion charge, and I think pretty much I could have predicted most of the words that were used. The things like people outside the area can't vote, the fact that it's not ready yet. We don't know what proposal will come to the County Council. £1.5 million, too expensive. All of them I could have predicted, all of them very weak arguments, as I'll come to in a moment. There were some different points raised, which I was quite surprised by. Councillor Nick Gay's very brave statement that you have a political mandate, because a document that you draw up after you were elected, the pact, mentioned something about improved public transport, didn't mention congestion charging, and that was after you got elected. But well done for trying to convince us otherwise. I'm going to take us back to when we were elected, the first council chamber meeting after that, when Councillor Lorna Dupre promised a new era of transparency. Well, I'm sorry, I don't see that. I don't see this new era of transparency. I'm glad you find this funny. I'm glad that you sit there and giggle away. 15,600 plus people have taken the time to write in a petition. People have come in here for public questions. You're talking about introducing a tax, 60 to 80 million pounds a year that will raise. And you think this is amusing because I quoted you bringing in a new era of transparency from your quote back then, and yet the democratic deficit is why everybody has come here today, because they simply do not trust what is going on. The sales document that went out with the name consultation attached was no more than a marketing exercise. It did not genuinely seek the views of the public. It tried to sway from the opening page to the end page the views of the public into where they wanted a result. The call for a referendum, the petition that calls for a referendum, is because the people of Cambridgeshire feel betrayed, absolutely betrayed by their elected representatives. Not by their elected representatives in March, in Wisbeach, along this side, primarily those living in Cambridge City, the Liberal Democrats and the Labour Party. I'll go on further about democratic deficit. Every time the politicians who want this brought in talk about GCP proposals. The GCP is a body with 3 people voting on the board, 2 Liberal Democrats, so 2 Labour and 1 Liberal Democrat, joined at the hip in bringing this forward. It is not an officer proposal, it is a political proposal. Somebody in the debate, I'm going to drop my notes because I'm not going to get onto them. Somebody today said that I might be seeking this debate for a different reason to influence the May elections. By God, they're right. By God, they're right. Yes, I am seeking to influence the May elections. And you know why I'm seeking to influence the May elections? Because from the day the consultation started, everybody started talking about this is only plan A, this is plan A, there is no plan B. And it was only when people got upset and livid that people started saying there may be some changes. And at the end of the day, it's not the consultation results you're going to be listening to, it's the election results in May when the people say to you, this is not good enough. They will not trust you. If you manage to survive through the election results with enough people to actually try and force this through, nobody trusts that an amended STZ zone will be your end game. They will always believe that your ultimate game is to tax the cars off the road to such a degree as the original proposals. I'd also add that all those red herrings put out by councillors today, we don't know what the question is. You don't know the wording of the question, but the question is very cleared out. It is, do people want to pay the congestion charge proposed by the GCP in return for that bus, for the improved services that they've outlined, and they're allowed to outline it. So it's very clear. The date that was missing,
That's time, I'm afraid, Councillor Count. Thank you very much. Next is Councillor